All right, ladies and gentlemen, dear colleagues, we are going to start an exciting panel discussion about the future of women in tech. Are you excited about it? Yes. Is there a great future for women in tech? Indeed. And these panels are going to show us from very different perspectives what the way forward for women in tech is. And I'm going to call each one of our panelists to the stage, a short introduction. So I'll ask you to sort of slowly, actually not so slowly, but racing to the stage as I speak your name, if that is all right. So our first panelist is chairman of VTT Technical Research Center in Finland, as well as a member of the board of the Finnish Federation of Finnish Technology Industries. He's the chair and CEO of Normet Group. Please welcome Aaro Cantell. So, thank you, Aaro. Our next eminent panelist is number 25 of the 2014 Wired 100 and has also been chosen as one of the 50 most inspiring women in European tech in 2015 by Inspiring50.com for her success in bringing the international digital elite together at DLD Digital Life Design. Please welcome the co-founder and managing director of DLD Media. It's Steffi Czerny. Our third panelist is a founding member of Teachers Academy of the University of Helsinki since 2003. She's an eminent professor, a professor of educational psychology, University of Helsinki, Kirsti Lonka. Welcome. And our next panelist is true visionary of investment in tech in this country. During her career, she has been a pioneer female entrepreneur and investor, has founded and or invested in 30 or more growth companies in industries as diverse as telecom, internet, e-commerce, media tech, mobile, and telecom. She is the co-founder and chair of at KoppiCatch. She is Inka Mero. Tervetuloa. And last but not least, this entrepreneur started his company when he was 13 years old, assembling custom-built computers for friends and family in his hometown here in Helsinki. His company serves more than 5 million highly engaged American shoppers already today and processes over more than 2 million transactions daily. He is the founder and CEO of DealDash, and his name is Wolfram. William, there you are. Yes. A big hand. All right, eminent panelists, this is your warm-up question. Are you ready?
Yes.
It's a very simple yet profound question. The question is, for all of you, the same. The first one is, why did you come here today? Why? We'll start with you.
Thank you. I think first of all, it's an important cause, good cause, and it's an honor and a privilege to be here. But my own company, which is Normet Group, is involved in a underground construction, and that's very, very male-dominated industry. And I would love to see much more women in that area. And by the way, most of the best operators, underground machine operators, are women. Not that many, but they're really
cool.
The best.
Hey, that's cool. You might want to tell us why that is a little bit later, but that's a very interesting fact. Steffi.
I'm here because of you. I'm doing this DLD conference, and it's full of American entrepreneurs. I'm always going to New York and to Silicon Valley. Look what's going on there. I've never been in Finland for looking what's going on here. And if I see you, I'm so inspired. I'm so inspired by the Pias I met yesterday. Pia, thank you for bringing me here. I think Finland is a wonderful place to find new products, new energies, new startups, new people. And DLD stands for Digital Life Design. And I think this claim fits very good to Finland. Thank you for having me.
And we're in your neighborhood. We're practically next door.
Yeah,
exactly. Thank you for that. And Kirsti.
How could you keep me out from here? Of course I want to come. I'm especially worried about the situation in Finland because we are one of the most segregated countries when it comes to gender roles in working life and studying. and you saw the computer science lines, it's also a global problem. But especially when people at the age of 15 are deciding for their future, they are very stereotyped choices that people make. And there is research showing that this process unfortunately starts already before kids go to school. They start thinking what is good for boys and what is good for girls.
So as the great education visionary of this country, you want to change that.
Yes.
That's
absolutely.
why you're here.
Gender
thank you very
bender.
much. Yes. Yes, thank you very much. Inka, why did you come?
Well, next year will be my 20th anniversary on working with technology and technology companies, whether those are big or small. I started actually very, very young. I'll be 40 next year, so I went straight from university working on a telecom operator. And during these 20 years, I worked with great entrepreneurs and PhD engineers and people, whether those are like really tiny startups or bigger companies. But my kind of a journey has been enabled by great coaches, which actually mainly have been men. And the reason why I'm here is that I think that we as women should make these opportunities for the younger generation, female, either entrepreneurs or give payway for their careers. So I'm here to ask everyone here to think about this and think about what you can actually do about that.
And be inspired by your success as well as an entrepreneur.
Or everyone,
yes,
everyone here.
Absolutely. Thank you for coming. Yes, Will.
Yeah, I came here because I think it's an important issue. It's not just about gender equality. I think it's about our national economy. And we have currently a very important sector that's only tapping into a small fraction of all the brain power we have. So I think economic growth is important for a number of reasons. And I think this is one area where we can find more low-hanging fruit if we get more women involved in tech.
Yeah, excellent. Thank you. Go ahead. Good opening. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we've played a little game with our panelists. We've asked them to provide us with a picture of the future of what would be a picture of what would be a future enabler, a driver of greater gender equity in tech. We've asked them to put this not in one sentence, not in one page, but into one picture. And I'm not telling you what picture they chose, but this is the group of pictures. Let's take a look at this. Here they are. Okay. We've got a strong woman, we have some cheerleaders, we have a graph, we have some code, and we have somebody waking up in the morning that says, I don't know what I want, but I'm pretty sure I won't be happy till I get it. Okay. Those are the 5 pictures. Now, you've listened to the introductions, you know the backgrounds of our panelists. And of course, there's a bigger story behind each picture of why they chose this picture. I'm going to take one picture at a time, and I'm going to ask you to vote with showing your hand. Who do you think the picture belongs to? Starting with this picture. I don't know what I want. That picture. All right. I'm going to ask you: does this look like Aaro's picture? Who believes that would be Aaro's picture? That doesn't look like you at all, Aaro. Would it be Steffi's picture? She looks very relaxed. I mean, yeah. You have about 20 votes out there. Good. Is it Kirsti's picture? Aha. Seems like the majority think that it's your picture. Would it be Inka? This could be Inka, couldn't it? Actually, Inka. And William. Does this look like William at all? It doesn't look like William, but you got more votes than Aaro. Congratulations on this one. All right. Okay. To be honest, I don't know who chose this picture. Whose picture is this?
Nobody's.
Do you remember? Sorry? Do we know? You don't recognize this picture, none of you. None of you.
We must have been drunk.
Well, I'm gonna need Pia's help on this one. It can't be yours. I know it's not. Seriously, we don't know whose picture this is. Pia, can you help me? Can you help me out with this? She got all the emails from. Who do you? Well, asking you, panelists, who feels the closest to this? Let's start with that.
Do you want us to reveal our pictures already at this point?
Yes, I want you to reveal.
Of course.
That's your picture. Do you understand this game? Yes. Yep. Yeah. So this is your picture.
Yeah.
Okay.
I got a little bit you got instructions that don't reveal, and I'm looking
Yeah.
how the comedian
That's right. You're right.
giving
You're
some
right.
floor to the comedian.
You are so Finnish, and I like that, you know. You told me to stay quiet. I'm going to stay quiet. This is the moment now, man. You can reveal it now. Is that your picture?
It is my picture.
You tricked everybody. Give him a hand. Oh, let's see. Tuli hiki, hey. All right, but now you shut up. Yeah. Now I'm going to ask your colleague. I'm going to ask Steffi. Steffi, you have an idea of his background. You have an idea of the picture that he really did want to reveal in the end. Steffi, why would a man like him with his background in technology, I mean, he's on the board of the Federation of Finnish Technology Industries, he's a VTT, our research arm here, very, very guru of tech in this country, if I could put it this way. And he chooses this picture as a symbol of the driver and enabler of more women in tech. Could you try to interpret?
I think it's a very male picture.
You think it's a very male? But they didn't think so.
Only a male could choose this, because this woman, of course we know it all and we can identify with it, but it's not nice to have a half-empty thing, and of course it should be humorous. It should be technical things, yeah. I know it's humorous, but I don't like it. I think the fact of happiness is overrated. We all should be all the time happy. I think it's discussable. I like the half-empty thing not so much, because the glass is always half full, not empty. So it's a cliche what you are showing to us.
Thank you for that interpretation. Now you can reveal why you chose this picture, Aaro, to us.
There you go. It's a cliche. Of course, when you look through pictures, it's not something that fully describes all your thoughts. But a couple of things I liked here. First of all, is that many people ask me, how to succeed, what should I do, young students, and I always say the most important thing is what you want. Most people know what they don't want, and it's normally the work or whatever they're doing that they don't want. The most important thing is to know what you want, and then at least then you can start going towards that direction.
And you won't be happy until you get it.
And that's the thing that even women would need to want more. This type of, these events, whatever you're doing, also helps people to with examples, get this more kind of thing for women to want. That was the thing I like this. Maybe the morning grumpiness over here, I'm a slow starter, as you could see myself, appealed to me somehow.
But you're getting there.
Half empty, I kind of agree. Half full would be better, but the half was the other thing that kind of liked me, that I like this, is that we need both genders, women and men, in all different places, all the best skills regardless of the sex, and that was the one thing that I kind of picked from here.
But clarity of purpose, of purpose of what you want is a driver.
Okay. But I humbly take the male chauvinist attitude. My apologies.
Give him a hand for that, please. Yes. Good job. Thank you, Aaro. And thank you, Steffi, for the interpretation. Thank you. All right, let's take a look at the next picture. Whose can this be? And I'm pointing. Yep. Oh. Okay, we'll get some code here. Okay. Code, and I think it's an Academy of Code. Interesting. So coding. Now, we know that this is not yours because you chose that chauvinist picture, right? But would this be Steffi's picture, possibly? Anybody? A few people might think that it's Steffi's picture. Could it possibly be Kirsti's picture, an education picture? Yeah, a lot of people think that. Could it be Inka's picture? Yeah, coding master. And then the coding master himself. No, if only a few people think it's you. I mean, maybe your reputation as a coding person is not that strong.
I think this code is better than what I could do. So.
Oh, you spotted the errors already. Okay, interesting picture. And whose picture? Please reveal who you are.
Aaro, this is the moment.
Okay,
You
this is
raised
the
the
moment. She
hand.
got it. So you were right. Most of you were right. So perhaps for the benefit of let's give it to Aaro. We're going to give it, but before, because this I think we sort of discussed this because it's a bit cryptic. Could you tell us, without telling why you chose this, but telling maybe a little bit what this is?
It's a screenshot from Khan Academy.
The Khan Academy,
Yeah.
which is free education on coding. Okay.
And this is a coding
Yeah,
class.
good. All right. Why did she choose this?
I think to me, I would have voted for Inka anyways. There's codes and there's smiling faces and glasses.
And a rabbit.
And a rabbit.
Okay.
It looks like her very much.
Yes, but how does this drive gender equality? Why did she choose this as a symbol, as a driver of future gender equality in tech? Why did she choose this?
That's a good point, but maybe it kind of somehow indicates that coding should be fun and exciting, not boring. And the first reaction of this should be exciting.
Give him a hand for trying that. That's not easy to do. Inka, is he right?
Partially. Many tough things in life actually aren't fun. So in a way, I think having the resilience to learn something which you really don't understand is quite important. I chose this picture because actually I don't know how to read this code. But I do think that I would have loved to learn this when I was younger, and I should still try to do that. But the thing about why I chose this is about driving equalities is that this is a free education.
It's
Everything
free
in
education.
Khan Academy is free. They have nowadays 14 million monthly users, and 39% of their coding classes are attended by women of between 16 to 25. And the reality is that they've kind of split it into micro small pieces. So in a way, the challenges and the videos and the teaching experience and the learning experience can be more accessible. So low entry barrier to learn new stuff.
Is a driver for more equality. Very smart. Thank you. Give her a hand. Yeah. Very good picture. Thank you. Very good. I have to go and register into the free class. It looks exciting. Okay. All right. The next picture. All right. Some cheerleaders. My daughter is a cheerleader. I'm always very afraid when they do that. But it's a huge challenge and it's a beautiful picture. But we now know that it's not your picture. But could it possibly be Steffi's picture? A cheerleader? Okay. Could it be Kirsti's picture? Cheerleader. Okay. This is definitely William's picture.
Got me.
Oh my God, you have people who believe that you chose cheerleaders. Good for you. Good for you. Now, of the three of you, whose picture is this? Yes, you are a smart bunch of people. Give yourselves a hand for guessing correctly. Yes. All right. And that is your picture. And I'm going to put your colleague Inka to try to guess. Why? No, actually, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to ask William.
All right.
Oh, okay.
Well, I think there's...
why? Why did you choose cheerleaders?
There are women lifting each other up, helping each other, and I think that's an important part of it.
Very cool. Isn't that a good... Give him a hand for trying. That's a good insight. Yeah? Is he anywhere close?
Actually, yes. For me, this is a very significant picture. It's a funky team, Wildflyers. My daughter was bronze medalist in Finnish championships, and
Wow.
she's been also in kind of mixed teams.
Okay.
My daughter's been doing this since she was like 8 years old.
Wow.
And what is interesting, why I wanted to have this picture is stereotypes. Because my egghead friends, professors, when I'm telling them that my daughter are doing like this kind of team cheerleading, they're like, oh, that's kind of, and they think it's something easy. But as you said, these are really strong girls. Like my daughter is here, and what she's doing, she's lifting up others, and it takes a great strength. And there are only these 6 shining stars who are doing this and who are showing, but there are all these girls, and they can do 50 male push-ups. And
Wow.
they are training 15 hours a week to make it possible, and it's also a dangerous hobby a bit.
Yeah.
Fortunately, not as dangerous as ice hockey. but it's very much a team, and what I like about this is this team spirit, that they're really devoted and they are doing it, but they're also very strong. And I don't like this very much, this controversy between women and men, because I like both. And
good for you.
And I like this gender blender kind of blending gender identities. And this is this kind of picture is showing how stereotypical we are in our perception, and how we are kind of thinking that people who are pretty or who are girls, they cannot be strong, and there are some kind of hidden force in all of us. And I like this Pia's term, like there is a special place in hell for women who are not helping each other. So definitely these girls are helping each other. And I want this kind of, like Linda Liuka's kind of coding school, I want this kind of spirit to spread also in computer science.
That's a lot of content for this picture. So, teamwork, raising other women up, working together, fighting stereotypes. Wow, what a picture! Give her a hand for that. That's a very good picture. Very, very, very good. And now we have 2 pictures left. So here we go.
That's
a strong woman here and we have 2 people left. So who think that this is probably Steffi's picture? Almost everybody. Could this be William's picture? Some people think that you would have chosen a strong woman. Interesting. Which of you has chosen this picture?
It's my picture.
It's your picture. All right, give her. Okay, tell her. All right. So without telling us, I'm going to give it to who has not interpreted yet. You have not interpreted yet. Yes, Inka. Did you interpret this? Why would somebody like Steffi choose this picture as a symbol of greater diversity in women in tech in the future? Why?
Well, I think this obviously has a great reflection of power. And to me, what this picture kind of resembles is partially that power is in us. So in a way, you kind of need to empower yourself as well and kind of take up the challenge. It also kind of has this reflection of the 50s or kind of let's say Second World War. And that was a time when the gender equality was kind of the gap was made smaller than ever, because women started to go to work and do all the stuff that men used to do, and I kind of that might be one of the reasons why you chose it.
Yeah, you're right.
Is she close?
She is very close.
Give her a hand for trying, please. It's not easy. Off the cuff.
Inka, you're very close, because for me this is also a cliche, I have to admit, but it's a cliche of we women can do it. We can do it. And of course we can do it, but we have to mingle with men, first of all. And today we heard a lot of what we can achieve and how we can achieve it, but we didn't hear one word. I just want to jump into the discussion. We didn't hear the word failure. I say, yes, we can do it, but let's do many mistakes before, because we learn of them.
Give her a hand. Yeah, that's great. Thank you. Thank you for that. All right, and last but not least is a very male picture, a graph. This is your picture, man. All right. I have to say that I put it last because I knew that it was yours. And it's a great picture, but we know that it's yours, and I believe that you didn't have a chance yet to interpret. Could you try to interpret why somebody like William would have chosen this particular graph? Finland GNP, time, money, 2 lines. Why?
Yeah.
What is this about?
I'm an optimist, but I'm also a psychologist.
Which makes you a bit of a Okay, all right, here we go. I'm sorry, William. I'm sorry, William.
So given this too, these projective tests like ink,
Yes.
stains, when I'm looking at this, I'm projecting my own optimism there.
Yes.
So I really love this picture because it's very optimistic, and we are whining, complaining, and I know we have hard times also at the university. It's terrible, and so many things going on, but there is also so much optimism in Finland. There are so many young people who are wanting to do their own businesses and startups and things like that. and they are wanting to do this, and they think the control group is all other countries. And that's Finland. Yeah.
And that's Finland.
Yes.
Fantastic. That's a great guess. Great story. Thank you. And thank you for not going too much deeper into the psychoanalysis
I
of
just
Will.
projected my own.
You're doing your own thing. Yeah, lovely.
Yeah.
How close was she in interpreting your picture?
Yeah, I think it's pretty close. I don't think for Finland to succeed, others have to fail. So I feel like we could all be on that path. What we do have is a very productive sector, the technology sector. When we put out a job ad for developers, we're hiring developers in 9 different countries, 80 or 90% of the applicants for software engineering jobs that we get are male. And we're constantly trying to hire more software engineers. And I think this is a huge opportunity for our economy in Finland. We can get more women to join technology and take on technology jobs, then I think we'll start to see more growth in the economy as a whole. We can unleash more productive labor like this. So that's why I'm passionate about growth. I think economic growth is very important, and this is one area where we can make a difference.
Super. Give him a hand for that, please. Thank you. All right. Cool. We've got a lot of tweets. A lot of interest from the tweets coming, the gender blender fighting stereotypes, bringing the strengths, team spirit, teamwork up. They really like that picture with and then the strong woman, Steffi. Yes, we can do it. Yes, perfect. I'm going to open this up for questions, and then I'm going to have a wrap-up question for you at the end. But I would like to open this up with again, using fantastic Finnish technology here. Any questions for our panelists? Something you've always wanted to ask this multidisciplinary panel on the future of women in tech.
Can I ask you something? Yes. I like to ask you something. Who of you is an optimist? Look at this. Bravo, Finland.
Wow. You can feel that energy. Yeah, you can feel that energy. But we do have a question behind there. So please tell us who you are and your question, please.
Yeah, hi, my name is Isa. I'm studying computer science here at Aalto University.
Good for you.
Thanks. There was mention how kind of kids already before they're 15, when they're just little kids, they are kind of thinking what is good for women and what is good for men and girls and boys. How do we kind of change that kind of a event from occurring when because they're little kids? Do we educate their 40-year-old parents? How do we do that? Those are people when they get older, they get set in their ways. So how do we change it?
Sounds like an education question. Can we start perhaps with you and then take the others?
Since I raised this question, I'm working in teacher education. I have 700 future teachers in my classes each fall. And what I'm trying to do there is to talk about this, of course, and talk about research and how we can do, and also about socializing, identifying. It's not only teachers who can do this. There are still lots of teachers who are thinking that it's more natural to teach physics, chemistry, and mathematics for boys.
They still believe that.
There are still, but not younger generation. Okay. But then there are even more parents who think so. So each of us who have children, we are role models, and the way we talk about people, the way what kind of choices we make, what kind of toys we buy, whether we are living in this pink and blue world, or how we are approaching the world, it's very important. And I've noticed that it's changing, but not fast enough.
Well, what are you doing at the university? What kinds of things are you doing in practice to tackle this challenge?
Well, just bringing it up in my classes constantly, which is important. Okay. Going all over the world in Finland to talk to people in different kinds of seminars, and I don't have any kind of feminist agenda when I go somewhere, but it's always this agenda that how can we afford to lose 50% of workforce, alienate them from technical fields already before they are 10 years old. Because this doesn't happen. My daughter is now studying in South Korea. She's a student from a business school, and she's in South Korea. And in Far East, there isn't this kind of thinking, and that's why they are blooming.
At least there.
They are not thinking that something is for girls and something is for boys. Everybody can be an engineer.
Thank you, Kirsti. Inspiring stuff. You guys, you also wanted to take a part of this question.
Yeah, so as a mother of 2 boys, 7 and 5, I get to see a lot of course, small girls as well. And I think in a way the biggest and most important thing, to my opinion, it's not about toys, it's not about colors, it's not about dresses or jeans. It's about how do we teach the girls that they don't have to fit in a box. So it's okay to be different, and it's okay to be a little bit difficult. It's okay to be challenging. So you don't need to kind of be this nice girl that has to apologize and take everyone else into the account. That's the most important thing.
Super. Thank you for that insight. Yes.
But not only the daughters we have to teach. I have 3 daughters and 1 little boy. Little, he's 26 now. And I think our boys should be educated also in a different way. And our husbands should take care that their daughters can get good education, can get good jobs. And again, I think for teachers it's so important that they know that the jobs, the kids they are teaching, will be gone. That will be totally new jobs. What does it mean? That you have to educate children, first of all, not physics and math, that's beside things. First of all, you have to teach them curiosity, self-confidence. I think this is so important because you have to one day you have to get a job you really want, and you have to get it, and you have to fight for it, and you have to be aware for it. And this is, I think, the most important goals for education.
Kirsti, you wanted to
just
speak to that?
There,
thank you for that.
The novelist Daniel Kahneman calls it attribution bias, that we are confusing between cognitive ability and personality. You don't have to be a difficult person in order to be smart. That's why we have this idea about Steve Jobs. He was a bit disturbed, I'm afraid.
But it's not the only model.
Yeah, but he was not genius because he was difficult. He was a genius despite of being difficult. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So it's a kind of attribution bias to blend these 2 things. So both genders can learn social skills. Men can become more empathetic, and girls can become more determined, but they can still be nice people.
But it's self-confidence, which was raised by Steffi, self-confidence and curiosity, those 2 things I think we need to teach more. Maybe perceived as being difficult when you're asking too many questions and you're too confident might be perceived to be difficult, but these are fantastic values.
But
I think.
I want to clarify this very quickly. I don't think we should get caught in the word. I was actually more reflecting to the thing that often women with ambition or persistence or goals might be perceived as difficult. So in a way, what I'm saying that in a way you need to also coach the girls and women to tolerate the challenges. That the happiness, the pink, is not the objective.
And not to seek for social acceptance. That's what I'm trying to teach my girls, that they are always asking difficult questions from the teacher, not just quietly writing down what the teacher is saying.
That's right.
We agree with that.
Yeah. Would you want to say that was a very good question. You really got them going. Good job. Yes.
Nothing to add to these, but still continuing what I said in the beginning is what people want. I think not to limit, like Inka said, that girls' pool of what you can dream of is somewhere here, but no limits. But then whatever your child wants to, then you need to support it. If it looks girly, then be it girly. But there's no limitation of what you can want, and whatever that is, then full support.
It's interesting that, at least in the English language, when you say about an executive or a woman that she is ambitious, and when you say that about a man, that there's still that stigma that it means something different. And I think that we need to tackle that very, very, very early. Yeah. Yes, we had a question. Could you tell us who you are and your question, please?
My name is Tina. I'm a startup entrepreneur, and I've also been tech for 20 years.
All right.
My question relates to words rise up. So we talk about, when we talk about startups and entrepreneurs, there are a lot of nice pictures when we're successful. Then there is a lot of this fail fast and the failure. And the words that I don't hear are rise up, which is the most important skill in my opinion, in between the successes and failures.
Rise back up, maybe. Yeah.
Or rise up, because sometimes you are really in the ground, and then what you do. And this is my question, because I completely agree with Aaro that the most important thing is to know what you want and to go after it. And in the process, you need to rise up many times. So what do you guys do when you rise up? Because I think this is one of the most important skills that you guys could share with us today.
Very good. And Steffi talked about the error and failing and how you get back on your feet. This was for you, Aaro.
Wow, I never thought of it as being, male-related, but what I try to encourage in every organization that I'm involved, that it's not a personal failure. We want you to try new things, and whenever it doesn't succeed, of course, you would want it to succeed, but then you learn something and then you move on. The fail fast is important. So it was not something personal that you failed. But this is part of the process that we test new things, and you'd like your lottery ticket to be the winning one, but sooner or later you will. And that's the attitude that even before you have failed, you kind of have accepted this will happen. Of course, if you have the same person over and over again failing, then maybe you need to look deeper into that as well. But that's normally not the case.
Steffi, you spoke to this about being optimistic and talking about failure openly. How do you respond to this question?
Probably I'm the oldest person here in the room. I'm 61. And to be very honest with you, it took me almost 20 years to find out what I really, really want. And in the meantime, in this 20 years when I'm finding it, I took various jobs. I was a cleaning woman, I was a journalist, and every job helped me for the job I do now and I really love. So don't be so focused on careers. Just focus on what you really want to do to find it out. And if it takes you 20 years, so what?
It's a nice journey.
Yeah. It's a journey, yes.
The psychology of failure. I want to hear about your perspective on this.
Yeah, I think the kind of key for success is to be able to fail. And in science, you fail like 30 times per month and you succeed once. And I've been saying every time we submit a paper and it's accepted, we make toast, but there is no risk for alcoholism because there are so many rejected papers and so many failures. So actually, resilience is now the very, very hot term in psychology of human strength. Resilience, sitkeys. We're
Should we teach resilience to our children?
Yes, yeah, and failing. Oh, actually, my German colleague, Professor Reinhard Beckrun, he's a specialist in academic emotions, and he is saying that errors are not supposed to be considered as failures, but material for future learning.
Absolutely. Like Thomas Edison said that, I didn't fail 10 times. I just found 10,000 ways this did not work.
Yeah.
And that's interesting, in the Finnish culture, and I want to ask this to Inka as a follow-up on your very good question, is that, it seems to be part of the culture here that the failing is still very stigmatized, and entrepreneurship at least is very new. When I went to KoppiCatch, they asked, how many of you want to start your own thing? And back in the 2000, it was 3%. 3% wanted to do their own thing. Women and men, altogether, 3% wanted to do their own thing. Most people went, mä haluan Wärtsilälle töihin. They want to, is there something in the Finnish entrepreneurial culture, both in women and men, that is, ken kuusen kurkuttaa, se kataja kapsahtaa. Don't go there, man, you're bound to fail. You must see this all the time when you're helping entrepreneurs. What's your take on this? How do you rise up Finnish female and male entrepreneurs?
Well, I think we're firstly seeing two very different cultures. We're seeing the millennials who basically see the world as an opportunity, as a global place. They talk multiple languages and they can just jump to a plane and start a company in Berlin or Silicon Valley. And they don't even think about the failure. Sometimes I would even think that some level of realism and work experience might be
so they're completely different
I'm
than
serious.
10 years ago.
To have some work experience from a growth company might be good before you start your own company. So you shouldn't brainwash people about this entrepreneurship wonderfulness, because it's really not that. Yeah. But then I think my generation is more about, we've left with the stamp from the 90s, from the big recession. So in that respect, it's been a great and big cultural change, and now it's good that we see also success cases. But I need to give a personal view on this Rise Up thing, because I think Tiina posed a very important thing, and Aaro pointed it out from a different perspective. It's actually very important not to take it personally, and I think at least I do take my failures very personally, and that's really, really challenging to get over them. And what do? I actually call my good colleagues and friends often, when I try to rise up. So I try to reflect and get perspective. And then the other thing what I try to do obviously is not to repeat the same mistake. So I've actually taken this pattern of trying to do things every time very differently, just to learn. And then the other thing is, like, if there's a problem, try to solve it now than later. And then when you start solving it, not by bringing answers, but actually bringing really talented people together.
Super. Aaro, you wanted to speak
just
to this?
A quick comment. So we're talking very much about how individual, resilience or something like that from individual's point of view, but it probably is as much also the environment, the culture around you. What happens if you fail? Don't worry, they help you rise up, as you said, and then it moves on, and then you realize, wow, it's not a big deal to fail. So it's probably as much, maybe even more about the culture around you.
And the community.
And trust, kind of atmosphere of trust. So there must be a safety zone in your working place that, like in my picture, when somebody's falling, there's somebody to catch you. And then if you fall, you must do it gracefully. I've learned it. And right away, come up. Not too fast to repeat the same mistake, but this kind of idea that fall gracefully.
I had an interesting observation. At this conference I'm doing, there are people like Marissa Mayer, Sheryl Sandberg, Mitchell Baker, Firefox, all these very successful women, but also very successful men like Mark Zuckerberg or Eric Schmidt or so. And what do they have in common? They all have in common that they are very, very focused. Failure is in their system, but they just keep on. They are so focused, and this is it's pattern recognition. If you meet someone who is totally focused on his or her product, watch him. It could be an interesting match for success. So this is, if you're focused and if you're really devoted to what you do, whatever you do, then failure is not a category you rely on.
William, you've been too quiet in this panel discussion. You were an entrepreneur since the age of 13. Your relationship to risk, any insights?
I have a lot of experience with failures, so I think I'm sort of an expert at that topic by now.
Okay.
But I think it's really important, like Aaro mentioned, to surround yourself with people that if you fail, and when you do fail, which is inevitable, that they support you and they sort of say, hey, let's bounce back up, or what do we learn from here? It's an art company, and also I'm lucky to come from a family of people, and I have friends who really are very optimistic, and whenever we fail, we sort of get together and we sort of have a laugh at it and we say, what did we learn, and let's not do that again. And then we start all over again. So I think the people around you is a really important part.
Super. More on this, Rise. You wanted to do one more.
Only one thing. Obviously, like, failure shouldn't be something that you would be kind of okay with. Otherwise, athletes wouldn't, stand up and continue. Because obviously, having that determination is one thing. But when I was having a very dark moment, maybe 5 years ago, one of my colleagues said very nicely to me after one of the startups I had co-founded went belly up eventually. He said to me that, preserving people's lives is there's a meaning for that, but preserving companies is not. So in a way, there's this human factor as well to remember.
Don't lose too much sleep.
Yep.
Move on. Okay, one more question. Back there, we have somebody, if you want to throw it. Oh, you have one already. My God, you guys are so efficient. Yes. Please,
hello, everybody.
Who you are and your question, please. Thank you.
My name is Johanna Järvinen. I'm a fresh graduate from Bioproduct Technology. And wow, this is amazing event. I'm so happy to be here. My question is that, okay, so we need to teach girls that it's okay to be not to fit the box, and it's okay to be ambitious and go for it and determined. But my question is that when these kind of girls, I think we have a lot of women here who are determined and want to go further in their careers and make a difference, make a change. But many of us might be in a team or a group of mostly men, and being the only female there. So how to keep up that good spirit and the strength and the positive mind of making a change when you always have to be the one who is different and the others can just remain as they are?
Great question. Yeah. Transforming difference into advantage. Insight into that, panelists. Who wants to take that one?
Well,
so how do you transform your difference into an advantage? Or how do you behave in that kind of setting? I'm going to ask the psychologist again first.
I was a professor in Sweden, in Karolinska Institute, which is a medical school.
Yeah.
I was not Swedish, I was female, I was Finnish, and I was not a medical doctor. So I was telling them I'm Angela Davis of this university, like she was black, communist, and a woman. I'm blonde.
A beautiful match. You had a lot to give to each other.
I'm blonde, Finnish, and not a medical doctor. But actually, this experience of being a different, an alien in New York or wherever you're an alien, it's a very, I've always regarded it'd be a fruitful position. I've been always working with engineers and medical doctors and teacher educators and people who are not, I love to be with my colleagues. I get strength from being with my colleagues and talking with my own jargon. But this idea of seeing that a very fruitful perspective, because then you get some kind of, you always have some kind of distance. But it's very important that you also have, and then there is so much about these guys who are working in your teams that you can learn to love about them. And it can be very cozy in many ways, but on the other hand, it's good to have this kind of Albert Camus kind of side watcher
and challenge.
And there is actually lots of research about creativity, showing that people who come with creative acts, great fashion people in California, they are very often gay people who are learn to be kind of different. It's good to learn to be different. Then you are not afraid of being different, and then you are not afraid of looking the world differently from us, and it can be very fruitful. If everybody is similar, it's boring and nothing creative is coming up. So you can think as yourself as a catalyst of creativity in your team. It's good that you are there. It's good for them. They don't always realize it, but...
Bringing in maybe the female characteristics that we saw in the keynote this morning.
Well, they are not... Well, there can be very empathetic guys in the team.
Of course.
I don't think
if not, maybe that could be...
Yeah, we can learn from each other.
Yeah. Sure. Aaro, you wanted to take this as well.
I would want to comment the initial reaction. I am different. How do I fit in the group? How do I become like them? Different is good. It's not bad. That's absolutely the key. When companies team up, put teams, management teams, board, one of the most important things is variety. Yeah. Different, we're talking about gender difference, age differences, different perspectives. So you are unique in your team. So you have a different perspective to things. Therefore, you are valuable. You are needed. That's absolutely key to any team. Is to be different people. So that's good. There's nothing wrong with different. That's good.
Yes.
All those challenging.
Steffi.
But it's so important that you can bear the difference. That you're self-assured enough not to break about being different.
Yeah.
You know, this is the trick. You have to be you have to have a good family. You have to have good friends. Who stabilize you, because it's difficult to be different. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, I've always enjoyed the fact that I've had a chance to work with various people, but the unfortunate truth is that it's been mainly male-driven, but I've enjoyed it anyway. So the question is like, are you passionate about the content or the thing that you do? And it's not about whether you're different, but whether you make a difference. So I would say just don't think about it, embrace it, take a role where you can make a difference. Then it really doesn't matter.
Yeah. I'd recommend a really good book to you. It's called David and Goliath, with the theory of the advantages of disadvantages and the disadvantages of advantages. Basically, sometimes you're so strong, but actually your strength becomes a weakness. Sometimes what you perceive to be a weakness, I'm different and so on, is actually your greatest strength. I had a great experience with it. Well, William was there as well last year. We had the Nordic Business Forum. We had Arnold Schwarzenegger. Arnold Schwarzenegger came to Finland, and I was moderating that session. And then he comes on backstage, and we go through the thing. And then he says, in his voice, he looks at me in the eyes, and he says, "Who are you?" And I said, well, I know that I sound like somebody from, New York or Montreal, but actually I'm from Finland, and actually, they voted me Speaker of the Year last year in Finland. Yeah. And he says, "Speaker of the Year in Finland?" And I said, yeah. In Finnish? He said, yeah, Finnish. And then he says, "Andre, do you have an accent?" And I said, yeah, actually, when I speak Finnish, I have an accent. And he says, "Andre, your accent is your greatest advantage." Your weakness can be a strength. Your weakness can be a strength. All right, how are we doing with time? Oh, we have to wrap up. So for the wrap up, I'm going to ask you to think about this and to let us know, looking at, the next 6 months, you personally in your communities, in your businesses, in your conferences, in your companies, what are you personally going to do to advance greater equality, greater diversity in what you're doing? I'm going to give you 10 seconds to think about it. Okay, you're done. All right. William.
We just hired...
something very specific, right?
Yeah. We just hired a very, very talented head of operations, which is essentially one of the most important roles in our firm. She's phenomenal, and she'll, I think, add a lot of diversity to our management team that we haven't had before, so I'm excited about that. And secondly...
I only asked for one, but 2 is good.
I got several.
I'll stop you at 2 because we're wrapping up.
All right. And secondly, I'm just standing and watching my sister's company grow like crazy. She's a tech founder, and just really amazed by the female entrepreneurs in my life that are doing tremendously well in technology. So.
And you're supporting her. Her company is?
Faceforce.
Faceforce. Thank you for that. You give him a hand for doing that. Yes? What is your action point next 6 months? What do you think you'll be doing?
I have 3. First one is
Oh my God, you guys!
Yeah, well, you don't know.
Okay, go ahead.
Be careful
go
what
ahead.
you wish for.
Go ahead.
So I'm going to force my sister's daughter to work in a startup as a rehearsal, kind of a 1-week program that I have.
And she is 7 years old?
She's 15. She's 15. She's 15. So I'm going to put her to work on Music Clock, this music theory and an improvising app that we've launched to Apple Store just recently with one of our startups.
Super.
The founder, by the way, was 17 when he founded the company as well. So kind of we had to co-found it with the parents.
Cool.
So then the other thing which I was thinking that we should forbid one of our fastest growing startups, Indoor Atlas, to hire anyone before they hire enough women to
Cool, very nice.
But it's really difficult. It's super difficult.
Sure
so it's probably to run the customer operations or something. And the third thing is actually relates to this rising tides thing that was mentioned in relating to women investing. So I'll take an action point of like connecting with everyone here who is interested to talk about angel investing or seed investing on tech startups.
Great commitments. Give her a hand for that, please. Yes, Kirsti. What are you going to be up to?
I've been talking so much, so I'll be very brief. I think in my research group, I'm having this principle: don't tolerate diversity, embrace diversity. So I'm trying to get rid of all kind of personality apartheid, as I call it. We have people who are gay, straight, foreigners, Finnish, male, female, 50 plus, 25, and the better mix it comes. But the idea is to have kind of Vaseline in that system all the time, social Vaseline, so that it rolls.
So how do you put social Vaseline? I'm very interested. What is that? That sounds very exciting.
I think that's the job of team leader. Step aside, let the people be stars and put social Vaseline all the time.
Social Vaseline. Can somebody tweet that, please? It's so cool. Social Vaseline. I love it.
To make it roll smoothly, and the best way is to be humble and try to make jokes of yourself and try to give responsibility for others, regardless of gender or anything. So.
Okay. That's fairly general, but I'm going to give you points for the social Vaseline. It's very concrete.
Yes, yeah, that's what, and then that happens small steps every day.
Small steps every day.
Over lunch, coffee, talking, how to give feedback, how to create atmosphere, and you have to be consciously building a good atmosphere. It doesn't come by itself.
Super. Thank you very much. Give her a hand for that. And now, Steffi, a DLD.
DLD. I'd like to do a conference, a women's conference, where I only invite men.
Hey, give her a point. I'm coming.
I mean it.
But you will invite yourself, hopefully. Yeah, you did that. Yeah.
I'm the difference.
You'll have my role here. It's great. I recommend it. This is quite nice. Last but not least, Aaro.
Thank you. Mine is a bit conservative. Sorry, Steffi. It's just all the recruitments which we're doing in the different organizations next 6 months. I will take special care that we try to look for women, although it's tough, but we do the extra mile what we can do.
So in 6 months, how many women are you going to be hiring?
Wow. That I cannot commit to, but many, I hope.
More than one?
Hopefully.
You promise more than one?
No, I'm not promising.
Oh, come on, Aaro! Try to be a hero.
Okay,
I mean, you're
fine. More than one.
Okay, give him a hand for that. Aaro, Steffi, Kirsti, Inka, and William, thank you so much for this panel. This is for you to make some dreams come true back home. Thank you. Give him a big hand.
Lovely.
Here you go.
Thank you so much.
Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Wow.
Here you go.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And now to reflect on the panel session, also more generally about the topic of the day, is somebody that many of us respect in the technology field and just generally as a multi-contributor or a multi-thinker of the tech scene, and I would say the society at large. As many of you know him as a very high-profile top executive at Nokia. Now he has changed a little bit. He now speaks a little bit like a professor. It's nice. It's a nice kind of life change for him, which suits him extremely well. If you want insight into the future of tech, you want to listen to this great speaker who will be giving us reflections on the panel discussions. He is a professor of practice at Lappeenranta University of Technology, and he is, of course, Anssi Vanjoki. Tervetuloa!
Yeah, Marjo Miettinen approached me a couple of months ago and asked me to comment on the panel here, Women in Tech. I didn't even know, what that panel is going to be about, so I put the words in a different order in a male way, and I said tech in women, thinking again in an analytical way that, with my 60 years of experience, I somehow could explain this, but I can't. So I will not go into that at all. And I recommend all the men who are in the room not to go that way, because long live the difference, because there is a difference. And that is something that I think came out also in the panel that we just saw in a good way, where the diversity of organizations, efforts, and people actually is a driving force, be it in tech or be it in life in general. So I think a good point was made right in the beginning of this panel, which was the stereotyping that we actually encourage at ground school. When we look at our educational system and how we first start men and women, children, little boys and girls being just equal, just the same, they go in their reflective vests in those streets and so forth, and you don't make a difference between boys and girls. But once things start to progress and they get more age, we start to separate them into different tracks, starting from sports, etc. And in this way we encourage still, in this modern day and age, the different roles that we have in this stereotyping way. So I think that we still have a big job, Kirsti, to really go in our basic educational system to ensure that everybody truly has the same possibility and we don't kind of segregate the roles too early. So I think it was a great point, and I really subscribe to that. When I have had a chance over many years to hire, promote, fire, whatever, deal with people in different roles, in different companies and so forth, I even looked back in a more kind of analytical way a few years ago if I did consider gender in one way or another. And I came to the conclusion that I actually personally never considered gender at all. But I looked at three different things. I looked at competence, I look at the skill and kind of image that the person had among other people, and then I looked at personality. And that personality to me still is the biggest driver for being successful or not being successful, fitting in, rising up, and whatever we kind of face, be it the term of resilience or whatever, but personality in a given situation to me, if you have acquired the competence, if you are skilled and you have a good image among the peers that you will be working with, then is the personality which is there. So my kind of message to all of you is that it doesn't matter whether you are a man or a woman, if you master the things you're supposed to master, and you fit with your personality to the given situation where you are being looked upon as a hire or promotion or whatsoever. There was a very interesting analysis that was done on advertising from 1930s to 2010 in advertising kitchens. The old reflections of kitchen equipment and so forth was that there was a picture of a woman with a neat dress and working on a stove, cooking something. And behind you could see a man sitting on a sofa, smoking a pipe and enjoying coffee. And of course, this was the starting point right after the war for the new societies that we formed. But if you look at how kitchen advertising is today, there's a man with a little hood on, and there's a woman sitting next on a table with shiny legs and whatsoever, with reflections of fantastic kitchen in the middle of the living room. So it is just kind of an analysis of how advertising has changed and how actually the world has changed from making women to be the ones who provide for the nutrition for the family, to have any role. And the same goes for the men. We have changed as well. We are not anymore just, the sole bosses and providers in the family, but actually take part in different roles. And I think it can also be seen in the work life every day today, with parental leaves and so forth that we all accommodate in a new way and so forth. So I see that, like I said, have not paid attention to gender, but I see that it's all the time disappearing in the real world. What I'm very worried about is about education. The education and how we have different genders participating into tech or any other, medical field or any other areas. I'm actually very worried about boys, because you women seem to be much more clever and you are journeying for academic education, you're lining up to different courses and different areas, but statistics show that young boys in this country are not anymore that actively looking for academic education and being a real believer that actually higher education is the one that drives societies forward. it's something where I would ask all of you women to kind of ensure that when you have, if you have children and you have boys, give them the same appetite that you have for higher education, because we need all men and women in this country to rise it up. Andre was saying that when he was interviewing people just 15 years ago here in Finland, they all wanted to work for Wärtsilä or one of the other 25 big companies in this country. I tell you, those 25 big companies in this country who are listed in the Finnish Stock Exchange will employ less people in the future than they employ today. All 25 of them. So don't look for a career there. Look for the new startups, look for smaller companies, go there, help them to grow. This is the vitality that we need in this country. We have a long history of big corporations being praised for what they did for the country, and good so. They provided us good rise after the Second World War. But those days are over. These companies that made it to today, they are moving their industrial operations out. We have become too expensive for most other things. Therefore, it is so important that entrepreneurial careers working for small companies are not just a thought, but they also become a fact. Uniqueness and diversity and difference. Inka made a real good comment there that it's not about being different, but it is to make a difference. And that, I think we all can do. One thing is for sure, I learned that when I was a young Boy Scout, at the time when boys and girls were Girl Guides and Boy Scouts. Later on I had some chance to put those together in the higher ranks of the Scout movement. But anyhow, the point that I wanted to make there is that I learned that everybody is unique. We all are unique. We just have to find that uniqueness in ourselves. And then using that uniqueness and the things that we are good to make that difference. And that difference actually is the only thing that takes you forward. It doesn't matter whether you want to be a specialist and make a career to be the best scientist or the best whatsoever in a specific subject matter, or if you want to be a leader. And there, what has been said many times in this conference so far, the key thing is that you know what you want. Not everybody wants to be a leader, be it a woman or a man. Not everybody wants to be a specialist. But my own experience is that those people who first became specialists on something and truly great, good specialists on something, they also made the best leaders. And those who, right from the beginning, wanted to be big bosses and so forth, they either never made it or they made bad leaders. So what I encourage all of you is to use your own personality, your difference, to make a difference, and know what you do, and in this way you can then achieve what you want. We people actually want to be happy. That's what is driving us. And doing a job that does not make you happy is the worst you can have in your life. So you must follow your passion, whatever it is, because you want to be happy. It's every time, and I've analyzed this in myself as well, every time I have a dissonance in myself with conditions around me, it starts an activity. And I want to get rid of that dissonance. And I want to feel happy. And in this way I make progress. And I think this is how the world makes progress. So, know who you are and go after your passion. Also, planning a career. It came also in the panel. Don't plan any careers. Just do things. Like Steffi was saying, cleaning lady, journalist, whatsoever. And now she's, my age, and life is beautiful when you do things that, led you into that. So do many things. And don't plan. But do fail sometimes, and learn. This is the way things move forward. I think to close kind of from my own point and what was not said in the panel, it's not about women and men. It is about diversity. And at our university in Lappeenranta, we are the most international university in this country, where we have 69, actually now 70 nationalities of students studying, and over 1/3 of the students are non-Finns. So I see diversity around me in great varieties of backgrounds every day. And I get to really appreciate the diversity even more so than what I did in the business life, where I understood that this actually is the juice that makes things go forward. What happens in this country today, when we look at the migration of people who are coming from the north, actually starting from the south, and looking at those politicians and even citizens who don't understand that this is a richness that this country can have, but they actively protest that we get new people here. Make sure that you fight that we endorse diversity, that we allow new people in, because there's another phenomenon, and I hope none of you is guilty of this, that you move out of Finland, because there are about 15,000 highly educated people moving out of this country every year, because they don't see the opportunity. But there are a lot of opportunities, so let's take them. Thank you very much.
Fantastic speech. Thank you, Anssi, for those words of wisdom. Thank you for a great morning. Did somebody who learned something new this morning? Anybody? You haven't wasted your time today. But we have a great afternoon. We're going to be breaking up into groups, into workshops, but game changers, and I want to bring that up. Here it is. So look at the groups. I don't have a map for you here, but we have great people telling you where to go after this. So look at, is it humanizing technology, smart home, sustainable business, industry matchmaking as a strategic tool for innovation, robotization, and cybersecurity. And I also wanted to acknowledge all the amazing partners, all the corporations that have come up and said, hey, we want to be a part of this. Without them,